Empress of Lycania. Previous episodes are available on the playlist. You can also visit our website for your favorite stories. A link is provided in the video description. Episode 4. Kyson: we're planning to meet with Larkin at Landina Castle in a few days, and Cedric is going to try to see if he can find out more about the Eclipsarian. He's bringing the records, and we'll see what we can unearth from our end. Once everyone departs, I pull Azzy onto my lap as she stares at the illustrations in the books Cedric left her. "Can you read this to me?" she queries, and I lean over her shoulder, resting my chin on her. She squirms as my stubble tickles her. "It's myths and legends about what historians believe the Azures and Landinas were blessed with," I explain to her, and she nods in understanding, her fingers tracing over the aged pages. "When do you want to leave for Landina?" I question, aware that I need to coordinate everything with my men. "Cedric said he can leave not tomorrow but the day after. He mentioned if I am returning home, the guards would want to accompany us," she informs me. My lips tighten into a thin line. "You don't seem thrilled about that," she observes, turning her face towards mine. "I'm not upset about it. Their lack of faith in me protecting my own mate grates on me and feels quite insulting. I think they merely wish to go home," she suggests. "This is home. We can't govern two kingdoms, and there isn't much left of yours," I point out bluntly. She swallows hard at this reality check. "I wouldn't even know how to rule," she admits wistfully, gaze fixated on the window across from us. "In time, you will," I reassure her. She sighs deeply, then attempts to extricate herself from my lap, but I hold fast onto her. "Come on. We have things to sort out and also check if Abby wants to join us," she urges. "Just a little longer," I plead, reluctant to release her. She exhales, then pivots on my lap, her knees straddling my hips and her hands gliding up my chest. "You are rather clingy for a king," she teases. "Only with you," I confess, leaning in to plant a soft kiss on her lips. "I don't enjoy sharing your attention," I murmur while nipping at her lips. My fingers curl around the back of her neck, drawing her closer still. My mouth descends on hers and I groan at the sweet taste of her on my tongue. "Kyson," she squeals into our kiss, and I grin against her lips, deepening the kiss further. "What if someone comes in?" she protests in between giggles. "Let them. I want you," I declare boldly, reaching for the buttons obstructing me from getting to her skin. "Kyson," she warns me as she pulls away slightly. She glances nervously at the door. "I'll lock it," I growl as I rise to my feet with Azzy's legs locked around my waist. Pressing her against the door, I fumble with the lock while peppering kisses along her neck. The heat emanating from her seeps into my shirt as arousal courses through both of us. She growls in response, tightening her grip around me before pushing my face away from her neck only to attack mine with fervor. Her teeth rake down my skin, causing me to gasp and turn towards my desk, where she bites down hard enough to break skin just as I swipe everything off its surface. "Kyson. My books. They're okay," I assure her, watching them land on the chair tucked under the desk. God, I could never grow tired of her. I desire her, yearn to bury myself deep within her. Yet, as she toys with my pants waistband, a knock at the door interrupts us. A groan escapes me while she snickers, hiding her face in my neck and covering her mouth with her hands to stifle her laughter. The knock echoes again, eliciting a growl from me as I glare over my shoulder. "Trey, who's at my door?" I mind link. "That would be me, my king," he responds, amusement evident in his voice. "What do you want?" Ganon is asking if the Queen can help him find Abby. "Tell him we're busy," I snap back. "I did tell him that, my king. He said he wouldn't have asked unless it was necessary, but Abby left Tyson and disappeared. He can't find her." "She left Tyson?" The question slips out before I can stop it. "Yes, my king," Trey confirms and adds, "Ganon said that she would never leave him behind." I finish for him and sigh heavily. There's no way I can keep this from Azalea. She needs to know and undoubtedly will want to join the search for Abby. "We'll be right there," I tell Trey before turning to a confused-looking Azalea. "What's wrong?" she asks anxiously. "Abby is missing. Ganon wants your help finding her," I relay the message, earning a gasp from Azalea's lips. Her legs drop from around my waist as she scrambles to redo the buttons of her dress before flinging open our door and rushing out after Abby. Every single time we get some alone time together, it gets interrupted. I sigh and follow after Azalea. We end up with every guard on the lookout for Abby when Ganon announces he's found her, but she refuses to come out. He claims that she's hiding in our quarters, so we head there to try to coax her out of her hiding spot. Ganon is beside himself, Tyson crying in his arms, his shirt stained with blood. The sight stops Azalea in her tracks and her shock hits me through our bond. "What did you do?" she demands. "I didn't mean to, but she tried to leave," Ganon stammers without finishing his sentence. My heart thuds heavily in my chest at seeing him in such a distressed state while Tyson wails loudly. Azalea rushes over and yanks Tyson from Ganon's arms, who growls at her as he tries to reach for Tyson. But the poor kid is too terrified of whatever he just witnessed and clings tightly onto Azalea. "Stand down!" Azalea orders Ganon, who freezes just as Damien comes rushing around the corner with Clarice and Liam. Everyone halts, staring at Ganon while Azalea attempts to soothe Tyson. "Where is she?" she demands again, fury blazing in her eyes. Ganon's eyes dart towards our bedroom door, which causes me to look behind before turning back towards him. A gasp escapes Azalea as a realization dawns upon her: something terrible must have happened for Abby to run into our room. "I didn't mean it. I would never hurt her. She tried to leave me," Ganon pleads, clutching his hair desperately. Azalea's gaze remains fixed on the door before she finally moves towards it, passing Tyson over to me as she does so. She pauses next to the door handle before noticing that her hand is covered in blood. The sight horrifies her and she looks at me before her gaze shifts to Ganon. She growls, shoving the door open and disappearing into the room. I turn my head back towards Ganon. "What did you do?" I demand again. "I tried to change her," he confesses, dropping to the ground and fisting his hair in despair. My lungs compress in my chest as I take in his confession. "Ganon!" Clarice whispers, horror-stricken as she realizes exactly what that means. There is no way Abby would have been ready for that after everything she has been through. Clarice scolds him. "She wouldn't stop fighting me," Ganon murmurs defensively. "Because you tried to kill her." I yell at him, but his response leaves me speechless. No, she was trying to kill herself. Ganon whispers as he clutches his hair, rocking back and forth on his heels. Azalea, each heartbeat resonates through me, pulsating in my veins and echoing in my ears. The tangy scent of her blood saturates the air, guiding me to the bathroom. Stepping into the bathroom, water splatters on the floor, and that is where I discover Abby. She sprawls out on the cold tiles, her ear pressed against them as if trying to hear something from below. Her vacant gaze is fixed on the bottom of the sink basin. Abby! I whisper, a lump forming in my throat at the sight of her so shattered. It's been years since she was this way, not since those horrific days following her return from Cade and before that being violated by the butcher. She doesn't respond, only a solitary tear escapes her eye and slides down her cheek. She has been through so much, and everyone breaks, though I didn't think it would ever be Ganon that would cause her to snap. I initially think Ganon is responsible for this state, that he has hurt her physically. But as I take in the scene before me, it dawns upon me that Abby has inflicted this pain onto herself. She's been drowning in torment for a while now, but we all have different ways of showing it. Kyson drowns his sorrows in alcohol while Liam seeks solace in his twisted games of torture and the copious amounts of booze he consumes, Damien with his need for control, and Dustin by overworking. As for me, I internalize everything until it threatens to consume me whole. And then there's Abby. Abby always fights hers because there is no comeback from the sort of vice she fights, and that is death. Carefully, I kneel beside her before sitting down on the frosty tiles next to her, our heads resting side by side. The emptiness in her eyes tells me she isn't really here with me, she's lost somewhere within herself, trapped within a past that continues to haunt and destroy her. Slowly moving my hand towards her, I gently stroke her icy cheek with my thumb, catching another tear as it falls from her eye. I can still feel it, she murmurs softly. Feel what, Abs? I whisper back. The noose. It's still there, so tightly wound I can't breathe, she confesses, her voice barely audible. My fingers trace the scar behind her ear, a mark that mirrors mine, a reminder of the death we narrowly escaped. Her words continue in a hushed whisper, I can feel it growing tighter, digging into my skin and burning through my flesh. I can feel the way it slides over my skin, growing tighter and tighter. Feel my blood rushing in my ears. I don't want to feel it anymore. What happened? The question slips from my lips before I can stop myself. If I'm to help her navigate out of this darkness, I need to know what has pushed her back into it. I can't be what he needs me to be, she admits with a sniffle, wiping away tears with the back of her sleeve. He shouldn't be punished because I am broken. You're not broken, Abby, I counter softly. But I'm not whole either. He deserves better than that. He deserves better than what I can give him. So does Tyson, she concludes with a sigh. What does Ganon need, Abby? I ask. Her brows knit together in thought. A mate. Someone to love him, who won't hurt him like she did, Abby whispers, her voice barely audible. Who hurt Ganon? She did. She didn't want him, and I can't have him. It's the same. Her words are a cryptic puzzle, one that I can't solve yet because I don't know of the woman she speaks of. Ganon wants you, Abby. Tyson wants you. And me? I want you to, I tell her. But as if my words are a trigger, she retreats into some dark recess of her mind while I struggle to pull her back to reality. When there's movement behind me, my eyes dart toward the door just in time to see Ganon silently entering the room. He moves behind her and perches on the edge of the bathtub. Abby doesn't notice him, she isn't here with us in the present moment. I don't know how to help her, he admits through the mind link. But his confusion mirrors mine. I'm not a doctor or a psychologist, and knowing Abby's reluctance to share her secrets with strangers makes me realize we won't get far with that approach. I turn my attention back to Abby. She shivers violently, her teeth chatter so loudly it echoes around the bathroom walls. She is drenched from head to toe and laying beside her has soaked me as well, my clothes now heavy with her blood despite no visible wounds on her body. Lifting up her shirt slightly elicits no reaction from her when suddenly Ganon's voice fills my mind again. She slit her wrists in the bathtub. I found a bottle of Wolfsbane beside her. Wolfsbane? Where would she get that? My question hangs unanswered as Ganon merely shrugs. I never got a chance to ask her. My gaze returns to Abby's distant eyes and I grab her wrists, now noticing the long thick scars running up each one. They are closed, but by their thickness, I can tell they were deep. Come back to me, Abby, I urge her softly. But she just blinks in response. So instead, I lay beside her on the cold floor, holding her hand and recounting every good memory we've shared together just so she knows that I'm here with her. Hours pass as we lay there together. Ganon remains next to the bathtub, while Kyson hovers nearby. Tyson is absent and I suspect Clarice or Liam has him. Abby. My whisper breaks the silence, and for the first time today, she reacts. Her eyes move to look at me. We made a pact. You need to come back to me, Abby, or I will follow you wherever you go. She shakes her head at my words. You don't want to go where I have been. The things they did, her voice trails off into a whimper. What they did can't hurt you anymore, I assure her firmly. I won't let them hurt you again. Neither will Ganon. But Abby interrupts me before I can continue, sitting up abruptly as rage burns in her eyes. I don't want them to live with it, she screams at me before breaking down completely in front of us. She claws at herself, ripping her own skin apart and tearing out chunks of her hair. Abby is losing it. She's breaking down, and it's shattering me to see her give up because that's what she's doing. Rage bubbles within me, as hot as hers, while Ganon tries to restrain her. But she screams blood-curdling screams that ricochet off the tiled walls as her anger escalates. She starts attacking Ganon in retaliation as he attempts to prevent her from self-destruction. More than my life, Abby. You promised. I shout at her just as hands grab me from behind, attempting to drag me away. Sparks race across my arms and I feel Kyson holding me back. Let me go. She will hurt you, he warns, but I wrench myself free from his grip. Seeing her like this hurts me, I retort and scramble towards Abby, who is thrashing violently now. She kicks out at me while Ganon manages to pin down her arms by her sides. He grunts when she throws back her head, but his grip doesn't falter even when the back of her skull connects with his nose. Stop! We are trying to help you. I plead with her, but she continues to struggle, this time landing a kick in my chest that sends me sprawling backwards into Kyson. Anger and grief surged through my veins at the sight of Abby in such a state. The emotions burn hotter than the sun, causing my skin to prickle with their intensity. Ignoring the heat searing through me, I lunged towards Abby again and clamped my hands on either side of her head. "Stop!" I command, and she freezes instantly. It isn't so much her obedience that shocks me though, rather it's the strange glow emanating from my hands before I'm suddenly immersed in memories that aren't my own. Memories I know belong to Abby. I blink, my surroundings dissolving as new ones take shape, nightmares, horrific images I wish I could unsee. But I can't pull myself out of her mind. I'm trapped in a past darker than the abyss, tortured and broken just like she is. Voices sound distorted, as if they're speaking underwater, but I recognize them as Kaisen's and Ganon's. A tingling sensation rushes up my arms and it feels like an out-of-body experience. Instead of observing myself though, I'm looking down at Abby in the tub where she's trying to end her life. Her wrists are slashed open and she truly believes that her presence is causing them pain. The sight of Ganon finding her tells a different story, he's desperate to save her life. As I watch her bleed out, the bathroom walls transform from tiled surfaces into a canvas of painful memories. Every cruel word ever spoken to her, every traumatic event is etched onto these walls, exposing her tortured soul for me to see. The urge to escape these memories overwhelms me even though they aren't mine. The horror she lives with each day is unimaginable, and the longer I remain here, the more entangled I become in her consciousness. I feel trapped and am drowning in despair. It's too much pain for one soul to endure, too much suffering for anyone to bear alone. My heart shatters repeatedly for Abby until there is nothing left inside me but emptiness. Inwardly screaming and writhing in agony, I struggle unsuccessfully to free myself from this mental prison. Kaisen! My shout echoes through the void, whether aloud or only in my head isn't clear, but sparks ripple violently over my skin before his voice resonates within my mind. "Give me control of our bond," he repeats insistently while attempting to manipulate it as he does my aura. But this is different, our bond is fraying, the feelings swirling inside Abby are becoming mine. I've become her, trapped within her psyche. Kaisen continues to prompt and coax me. "Whatever you're doing, you can control Azzy. You used power to get in there. Use it to get out." His words make no sense because I don't remember doing anything. Fury swells within me, hot and bitter. It's directed at her surrender. She made a promise. "More than my life," she had said. But this isn't my life yet. I'm ensnared in a past that belongs to her, not me. We share parts of it, but not every scar. My gaze sweeps over the room, taking in the walls closing in on me, walls that bear the marks of her self-destruction. This is not me. This is not Abby, I whisper to myself as I close my eyes. "Breathe, Azzy," Kaisen's voice floats from somewhere distant. When I open my eyes again, the walls are transformed. Gone are the haunting images of her deepest fears, now they're adorned with our shared memories, each one a precious moment we spent together, dancing in the attic during the festival night, playing under the sun when our parents were still with us, painting with the children, an apple fight, and above all, her radiant smile. As these memories begin to color the room around me, I feel her stir within me, adding memories of her own Ganon and Tyson, a quaint cottage surrounded by wild flowers and pebble footpaths, and finally, her mother. Together, we rebuild these walls piece by piece using fragments of happier times, small things worth fighting for until all traces of blood vanish, and only we remain amidst our cherished memories. More than my life, I murmur to her as my heart rate steadies and breath returns to normalcy. How are you doing this? She asks tearfully. I have no idea, I admit through choked sobs as I watch her whole and beaming back at me. But it's time you let go. How? By letting me replace what lies behind it. You can do that, she asks incredulously, her gaze darting around the room filled with our memories. I don't know, but I feel like I can, I assure her, raising my hand that begins to glow subtly. What are you doing? She asks as I approach the walls of her mind. Reinforcing these memories and overriding the others, I whisper before pressing my glowing hands against the tiles. Suddenly, a blinding white light engulfs us. I gasp as reality pulls me back and find myself with my hands on either side of her head. More than my life, Abby whispers back at me, her vibrant green eyes meeting mine. Always more, I reassure her just as something warm trickles down over my lip. Abby's voice is laced with concern as she reaches out towards my face. That's when darkness clouds my vision and everything fades away. Abby, I can't explain what she's doing. It makes no sense, and before I know it, Azalea's eyelids flutter and she passes out. I can feel her in my head, her essence or presence tainting and touching the darkest parts of me, twisting and manipulating. She lifts the weight of my past from me. I feel free. It's as if I'm no longer trapped in the nightmares I've survived and am now merely an observer, dissociated from them. I still remember everything, but the feelings that haunt and trap me are no longer there. It's as if she has erased those completely. When she passes out, everyone goes into panic, while all I can do is stare. I think I've killed her, but Gannon is quick to whisk me out of there and away from everyone. Yet, I want to check on Azalea. Need to know I haven't hurt her. She is awake, Abby. Damien just mind-linked me, Gannon tells me. I nod, staring at where Tyson lies on the bed, nestled between our pillows. You need to shower. You're covered in blood, and I don't want Tyson waking up seeing you like this, Gannon instructs. It was Tyson we fought over first, then SIA. Only recently did I learn that my auntie was Gannon's true mate, and he killed her. Yet strangely enough, I feel nothing for that woman, hardly remembering her, my mother who fought back when we left my grandmother's house. That was when we left the pack we lived in and went on the run, also when we met Marissa, who at that time was known by Della to us. We were attacked by bandit rogues, then Della and Jason came to our aid, after which we stayed with them ever since. I'm beginning to realize how small the world truly is, how interconnected all our pasts are. But it leaves questions unanswered, ones I'm not sure I want the answers to. Why did you kill her? Was it just because she left you? I ask Gannon. Gannon sighs, kneeling next to me where I sit on the couch by the small bookcase of children's books that Gannon got for Tyson. Most of them are pop-up books. Abby, you don't want to know the answers to these questions. They will do more harm than good, he warns me. How can they? I don't feel sorry for her, I barely knew her. I just need to know, I tell him. Why? He asks. To make sure that isn't the only reason you want me, because you couldn't have her. Because I look like her. You are nothing like Sia. Not even close. You have the same hair and eyes, that is it. Then tell me. Ganon sighs again, dropping his head onto my knees. When I met Sia, I was visiting her pack. I had to take a message to the council for the king. I stopped over at her pack and met her at the tavern, he tells me. His brows furrow together as if he's trying hard to remember some detail, but my eyes are trained on his chest, the deep crevices that marred his skin torn apart by his own claws when he tried to rip out his own heart. Anyway, Sia and her mother were being kicked out of their pack for something your grandmother did. She informed me that the council had located another place for them in a pack closer to here. I lent a hand with her move on the weekends, but she kept pushing for me to change her. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but something about her persistence irked me. She also expressed a desire to meet Claire and work at the castle, another thing that didn't sit well with me. Why does she want you to change her so desperately? Because your grandmother was dying, that's why, Ganon replies. So you never changed her? No, she kept mentioning it and I lost my temper. At that point, I still hadn't informed the king. Once mates are typically discovered, especially when you're part of the king's guard, the king conducts background checks and most of the time, unless he knows them personally, you need his permission to change them. I hadn't told the king about her or anyone else for that matter. Something felt off about her, and I feared the king might have refused if I asked or uncovered something suspicious about her. So, I told her no and we had an argument. She then rejected me. What did you suspect her of? Collaborating with hunters, Ganon admits. That's why you didn't want to inform the king, because he would have killed her. Yes, and Abby, you mustn't disclose this to the king either, not the real reason at least. You've seen what he did to Azalea when he thought she was a hunter's daughter. So where does Liam fit into all this? I question him, trying to piece it together. He exhales deeply before answering. Liam isn't aware of Sia's existence, however, he frequently visits the town she relocated to. He met her there and they started dating. What I wasn't aware of was that Liam actually knew her before I did. Liam knew your mate before you did. Ganon nods affirmatively. Yes, because your grandmother is human, her mate was a werewolf who fortunately passed the werewolf gene onto his children. He then left her for his own mate, but since she had children, she was permitted to stay within the pack. She was a witch and also the very same witch Liam would visit to get location spells done when we had trouble finding people the king would send us after, Ganon informs me. So she was cheating on you with Liam? I question him, causing him to stand up abruptly. I slide over, making room for him, and he collapses onto the couch next to me. Yes, we were clueless about each other's involvement with her. I never accompanied him when he went to see your grandmother. Long story short, after 2 years of enduring her infidelity, I'd had enough and confronted her. To sever the bond from my end, I knew I had to kill her. But when I called her up, she confessed that she wanted to be with me. Little did I know that she'd told Liam that I was an abusive ex-boyfriend who'd been harassing her and he intended to kill me in response. And he just stood by idly while you killed someone he loved too. At first, yes, he was shocked, but a year prior, he suspected that I must have found my mate because of my suicide attempt. He pats his chest where scars are visible. Liam found me and stopped me from ripping out my own heart in grief over losing the bond. He spent all night feeding me his blood so that my healing process could speed up. Even though it remained unsaid between us, he knew as well as myself that I'd found my mate. I chew on my lip. My aunt was a monster to inflict so much pain. Anyway, when Liam stepped out of the car and saw me, he put two and two together. He was disgusted with her and she started screaming for him to kill me. But instead, he stepped aside and told me, "I'll start digging a hole to bury the bitch in," which is exactly what he did. I killed her and he assisted in covering it up. You're nothing like her, Abby. Yes, you share some similarities. At first, that might have been why I was drawn to you, but you're nothing like her, absolutely nothing like SIA. Despite my bond with SIA, I never loved her the way I love you, Gannon assures me. I take it back. Trey is not the fun police. My mate is. Tandy says, flailing her hand at him. I have to agree with her because the look on his face is furious. Dustin moves quickly to my side as Damien storms in. You. Damien snarls, and I glance between the table Liam and Tandy are dancing on and Damien. However, he is not looking at Tandy but at Liam. Liam looks over his shoulder at Damien. Me, he says, pointing at himself when his eyes widen as Damien snarls and shifts. Tandy screams, flying off the table as it is upturned when Damien crashes on top of Liam. The air expelling from Liam's lungs is audible as he hits the ground with the angry Lycan's weight crushing the air from him. Tandy tries to separate the pair of them as they pummel each other, and Liam is far too drunk even to shift. Damien! What has gotten into you? Get off him! Tandy screeches, ripping on his fur. Abby giggles as she drunkenly stumbles over to me with her bunny slipper in her hand, clutching it as if it is some prized possession. Get Tandy! She squeals loudly beside me as Tandy jumps on Damien, clinging to him like a spider monkey as she bonks him on the head. I don't think Damien is playing, Abby, I tell her. Abby's face suddenly turns serious as she looks at the pair, just as Damien punches Liam so hard that his nose breaks. Whoa! Not the face. Body shots only prick. Liam spits at him. Just as Tandy slides off Damien's back and hauls Damien off him, Trey strolls over to me, sitting next to me. You're not going to stop them? I ask Trey, and he shrugs. Not unless you ask. Or they get too close to you, Trey yawns. I look at Dustin, who also just shrugs. Liam can handle himself, he says, looking unperturbed by his boyfriend getting his hand to him. Stay away from my mate. Damien spits at Liam. But good old Liam just doesn't know when to shut his mouth, and I roll so hard I swear I catch a glimpse of my brain when Liam laughs like a maniac. Not my fault. She likes me more than you, Liam taunts. That crazy Lycan has a death wish, and death is coming for him. As Damien spins on his heels so quickly, Liam only jumps out of the way of his foot as Damien goes to stomp him. Damien's foot misses him by mere inches when Liam punches Damien's inner thigh as he reaches down to try to grab him. Which makes Damien grunt, and he drops his head. Liam takes that opportunity to uppercut him. I hear the sound of his teeth gnashing before all hell breaks loose. Dustin sighs, stepping in front of us, acting as a shield. My heart skips a beat, and I grab Abby, ripping her away as they come flying toward us. Trey quickly moves to block me as Liam comes flying toward us from a kick to the stomach. Trey grabs him, shoving him away and toward the doors, while Dustin shoves us behind him to the side. Out now! Trey snarls, pointing toward the door while glaring at Liam, and I feel Kyson wake, and by God, they want to run before he gets here. Liam bows and looks at Dustin. Come on, Dustin, you can kiss my boo-boos better, Liam purrs. Dustin growls and watches as he saunters out, and Trey blocks Damien as he follows him. Go, Trey is with me, I tell Dustin, and he sighs, rushing off after him. Tandy appears to be in shock, and she gasps when Damien turns his head to look at her. He looks menacing. And I don't blame her at all for not wanting to go with him. His chest rises and falls heavily with each panting breath he takes. Tandy now. Damien clicks his fingers at her, but she shakes her head, eyes wide as she stares at him petrified. I'm good here. You go ahead. But not petrified enough to defy him. It wasn't a question. Now. His demand of her makes her eyes narrow. She clearly isn't impressed by him making demands of her, and it isn't like she was doing anything wrong. They were only dancing, or is that not allowed? I wasn't sure what appropriate male and female interactions are outside my guards, so I'm not sure. Then again, Kyson, I know, easily becomes jealous, especially with Trey. Dustin, not so much, but he has even had his moments with him. Abby snickers behind me, cupping her mouth with her hands. She has been in fits of giggles since the first glass of wine. She can't even stand upright properly. Abby is leaning against me, and I am sure she will topple over if I move. Damien's head twists at the noise she makes before recognition dawns on him. His eyes soften slightly as he peers at her. Abby, Gannon is on his way to get you. I sent Clarice to watch Tyson, he tells her. What? You speak to her nicely while I get yelled at for doing the same thing. Tandy snarls, outraged. You're older. You should know better. And she wasn't dancing with the man whose initials are carved into her thigh. Tandy rolls her eyes and folds her arms across her chest, popping her hip, which is a big mistake from where her pajama pants have ridden up, exposing the white scar marring her skin. Damien snarls at her as if she did it deliberately, and she realizes the mistake, quickly fixing her stance as his eyes lock on her. He growls, stalking toward her, and my feet move when he grabs her. I shove past Trey as she squeals. Her small body hits the floor as he pins her. Damien! I snap. Trey races past me just as she screams. Everything goes to shit. Trey tries to pry him away, and I see blood spill on the floor and Tandy screams a blood-curdling scream that makes my heart leap into my throat just as Trey rips him back. Trey growls at him just as Kyson rushes into the room and rips Trey off Damien. But my eyes are on Tandy's thigh, torn to pieces by his claws. Tears brim in her eyes as she looks at where he carved his name, or half of it, on her leg with his claws. Damien, coming back to his senses somewhat, stares at what he did, yet his anger is quick to grip him in this heightened state. I think I am going to be sick, Abby says behind me, and I turn to see her face white as a sheet. She staggers and is about to hit the ground when Ganon is suddenly beside her. He scoops her legs out from under her, and she pukes all over his shirt the moment he does. Sorry, she murmurs, wiping her mouth on the back of her hand. But I feel better now, she nods. Ganon blinks down at her before lifting his head to look past me at Kaisen. My king? Ganon asks. Go, Trey and I have him. Kaisen answers. Night, he says, walking off with Abby, who has officially passed out from either fear or alcohol or both. I grab the napkins from when we had cake, pressing them against her leg, trying to clean it up. Trey taps me on the shoulder, and I move aside, letting him tend to her. When I rise to my feet, it's to see Kaisen glaring at his beta while Damien is glaring at Trey's hands on her leg. He's helping her, back off. Kaisen tells Damien in a warning. He is livid, and I hope it isn't directed at me. I can tell he isn't impressed waking without me beside him, but he doesn't mention it, and I can tell he is trying to keep himself calm despite also feeling the urge to drag me out of the room. What a disaster this night, or more morning as it is now, became. Tandy hisses, and his claws got her deep, the napkins barely doing anything to stem the bleeding. Damien needs to heal you, Trey mumbles, looking over his shoulder at Damien. He mutilated me. I don't want him anywhere near me, she snaps. Just help me up, I will walk it off, she groans as she holds her hands out to me, and I grab them, hauling her to her feet. Yet the moment she stands, blood cascades down her leg like a waterfall. Trey clutches her thigh in both hands. Don't be stubborn. Damien snaps, shaking off Kaisen's arm on his shoulder. No. You're not touching me, she snaps at him when he pauses, looking around on the floor where mushed up cake and spilled drinks ruin the floor, and guilt smashes me at the mess we have made. Damien growls, snatches the cake knife from the floor, and stalks toward her. She stumbles back, her leg still clutched in Trey's hand. Get off her! Damien snarls, and he holds the knife out to her. Her hands tremble as she hesitantly snatches it. Enjoy it! It will be the only time I let you carve me up, he snaps at her before dropping to his knees in front of her. He growls and looks up at her, and shakes his head. What? You don't get to act disgusted. You did it, she snaps at him. I'm not disgusted. Look at it, he snaps at her, and we all lean a little closer, and she narrows her eyes at him, pursing her lips. You fixing it? I am not walking around with damn on my leg, she growls furiously. Did she mean she wanted him to carve into her more? Or did I hear that wrong? Damien looks over his shoulder at the king. Kaisen shrugs, his eyebrows lifting almost into his hairline at her words. Well, you asked this time, so don't peesh when it hurts, he tells her. Yes, because you mutilated me. Now fix it, she says, tapping her foot impatiently. He lifts his hand to her leg, his sharp claw slicing through her soft flesh, and she grits her teeth, grabs his shoulder and bears it while I feel woozy just watching. Damien does it fast before running his tongue across it and quickly healing the damage he caused, leaving behind only faint scarring. Tandy examines it, scrutinizing it when a wicked smile graces her face as she runs her thumb over the knife in her hand, wiping the chocolate off it before sucking on her thumb. My turn. And you better not squirm like a peach, she says, and I look away, noticing that he has shifted back and is now naked, kneeling before her. Your name only. You write something stupid on me, and I will do nothing. You cut me first, she says, waving the knife in his face. He sighs, and Trey gets to his feet, reaching me at the same time Kaisen does. That is not normal, Trey says, shaking his head at them as Tandy carves her name above his pec, while Damien watches her, making sure she embellishes nothing. Wait, I forgot to dot the I, she says, stabbing the point into him and making him hiss. There, she says, dropping the knife and walking off. She passes us and moves through the double doors, snickering to herself. Damien stops beside us, and I glance at his chest, keeping my eyes above the waist. His blood streaks down his chest as he stares after her. That woman is driving me crazy. I don't know if I wanna kill her or kiss her. Maybe both, he snaps, chasing after her while mumbling. When they leave, Kaisen's hand falls on my lower back, and I cringe, waiting for his wrath. Are you okay? He whispers, kissing my temple. I peer up at him as he drapes his arm across my shoulders. You're not mad? I ask him. Too tired to be mad at you. Besides, you don't look drunk, and you're not brandishing a knife like a madwoman, he says, gripping my face and sniffing me. I only had half a glass of wine. I stopped drinking. It wouldn't be right if I was drinking while constantly scolding you for the same thing, I tell him. He glances at Trey and sighs. I trust you. And I trust Trey not to let you get in trouble, Azzy, he says, kissing my forehead. Come on, I should clean this mess up, I tell him, looking at the mess we made. Go, I will do it, Trey says, walking toward the doors. He grabs the plastic bin, and I move to help him, but he shakes his head. Bed, my queen. We are leaving for Landina this afternoon once we hear back from Larkin. His deadline is today. I can handle this. Go get some sleep. Trey says, but Kaisen is already steering me out the door before I can protest further. Azalea, the sound of murmurs was what I woke to, whispers and frantic speech my mind was too foggy to comprehend. Kaisen sounded worried. I can tell that much from his tone as I return to the present. What do you mean? How can you not know? Kaisen snarls at someone. Moments later, Cedric's voice reaches my ears. If she were a Landina, it would be straightforward, but she isn't Kaisen. She is also half Azure. I am familiar with the king's gifts, the queen's she kept hidden for the most part, and my knowledge is limited. And what? Do you have no clue either? Tatiana was your mate. Kaisen snaps when Trey's voice reaches my ears. I know of some of her moon-blessed gifts. Cedric is right, though. We can't fully understand Azalea's gifts until they make themselves present. She only just started acquiring them. Azure and Landina bloodlines were the first. The moon-blessed yet polar opposites. They were never destined to bring a child into the world together. Her gifts will remain unknown until she learns to use them or they reveal themselves, Trey argues. Kaisen sighs loudly, and I open my eyes to find I am on the couch by the fire, a blanket draped over me. Damien sits across from me, looking rather tired, his head resting back on the armchair as he listens to them argue. So, what sort of gifts did Tatiana have? Kaisen asks. All I know is she had gifts of being a seer and elemental by nature, Trey answers when Cedric speaks. Garrett was the opposite. His gifts stemmed from the mind, which is why no one could resist his command, and why he was so charismatic and cruel, Cedric says, sounding a little bitter as he mutters the last word. So this could be a mix of either. Kaisen groans. Annoyance filters through the bond. Or something else entirely, Cedric offers. I remain quiet, letting them talk or argue about what they seemingly don't know. Sitting up completely, I peer over the back of the couch to see Cedric hand him some leather-bound books before they both leave. Looking back at Damien, he is watching me. Abby? I ask him. With Ganon, she is fine, my queen. You don't need to worry, he tells me before getting to his feet. Yet worry is all I feel for her. She tried to kill herself and almost succeeded. If Ganon hadn't intervened, she'd be dead by now. The things I saw inside her head will forever haunt me, forever remain with me. Finally, you're awake, Kaisen says as Damien steps around the coffee table. I am going to head back to my mate. But I will be ready to leave by the afternoon for Landina, he says before walking out and leaving me with Kaisen. We are going to Landina tomorrow? I ask as Kaisen wanders over with books in his hands. He sits down beside me. Yes. You still want to go? I nod my head. I needed answers, anything to try and figure everything out. Any news from Larkin? Kaisen shakes his head. No, though we have tried to reach him. You don't think that Crux? Honestly, I don't know what to believe anymore, Azzy. We'll figure it out together, he tells me, setting the books down on the small coffee table. How are you feeling? He asks, moving my hair over my shoulder. I feel fine, I exhale as he cups my cheek with his hand. You had me so worried when you passed out. Abby was beside herself. It took all Ganon's strength to get her to leave. I just can't believe we missed how depressed she was, I tell him, feeling terrible that my best friend was suffering in silence, believing wholeheartedly that she had no one to confide in. A lot has happened. New things have come to light. Finding out about Ganon's mate, I think that shoved her over the edge. Ganon had a mate? I ask. Apparently, yes. But more shocking is it was Abby's auntie. Ganon and Liam killed her, Kaisen tells me. He killed his own mate? I ask, horrified. Kaisen shrugs. I don't know all the details, and we were just as stunned when we found out. He never told me. Although I know Ganon, he would never hurt a woman without good reason. It is also nearly impossible to kill your own mate, Kaisen says, resting his head back on the couch. Come, you should get some rest. We have to be up in a few hours, he tells me. I just woke up, I laugh. But I haven't slept yet, and it is 3 a.m. in the morning. I can't sleep without you, so you need to come too, he tells me, standing up. I'm not tired, I tell him, peering up at him. Good for you, but I am, he smirks before scooping me off the couch. I scramble to grab hold of him, not wanting to be dropped as he walks toward the bed. He places me on it before stripping his clothes off, remaining only in his boxers. I lick my lips at the sight of him. Nope. Sleep. I am old, tired, and grumpy. You can have your way with me tomorrow, he growls as he climbs over me. But I'm not tired. No, I'm wide awake. Kaisen crawls into bed beside, tugging the blanket up before flicking the lamp off. Only the light from the fireplace illuminated the room, casting shadows on the walls and roof. I stare at the ceiling, wondering how long before he falls asleep so I can sneak off to shower. However, sleep is instantly forgotten when I hear Abby's voice flit through the mind link. Are you awake? She whispers to me. Yes, are you okay? I wanted to come to see you, but Kaisen wanted to sleep, I tell her. You can see me. I'm outside your door, she whispers through the link as if she is trying not to wake Kaisen. I glance at him fast asleep, snoring, before getting to my feet and making my way to the door. Opening the door, I find Abby and Tandy. Tandy peers past me to look at Kaisen asleep before reaching in, grabbing my wrist and tugging me out the door and rushing toward the stairs. Abby giggles, racing to keep up with her as if she is performing some kind of jailbreak. Dustin, who is standing guard with Trey, stumbles after us. Ah, you said you needed to speak to her, not kidnap her. Trey hisses at her. Either come with us and shut up, or stay behind. No party poopers allowed, Abby states. Trey shoots me an inquisitive look and I shrug. Where are we going? I ask as I nearly stumble down the steps. To raid the liquor cabinet and find the desserts, Tandy tells me. Abby giggles and shakes her head. I heard her giving Damien hell in the halls and went to see what the commotion was and was kidnapped too, she shrugs. Tyson? And Hunter? I ask the girls, relieved to see a smile on Abby's face after yesterday's events. Hogging the bed. Gannon is with him, Abby tells me. And Damien is playing daddy daycare, Tandy says as we reach the bottom of the stairs. Tandy scouts the hall before jumping in fright when Liam comes around the corner. Liam glances around before ducking behind the corner of the staircase with us. He peers down, then peeks around the corner toward the kitchen. Who are we hiding from? He whispers, and Tandy giggles. We are raiding the kitchen, she snaps, pushing past him. I could do with a midnight snacky poo. This is a girl's breakout only, she tells him. Then why does the ferret face get to come? And him? Trey huffs at Liam. Tandy looks over her shoulder at Dustin and Trey dressed in the typical black uniforms, looking every part of my guard. Dustin, don't count. He is one of us, Tandy states, and he huffs as if to say he is not a part of this escape when her eyes slide to Trey. And he is the fun police that decided to tag along, she growls. Well then, count me as the corruption. I know where the hard liquor is kept. Besides, I am her guard, he says, pointing to Abby. Since when? Abby demands. Since you did a jailbreak on my best friend in your rainbow pajamas and bunny slippers. You look like you're up to mischief, Liam tells her, sending her a wink. Tandy sighs loudly. So much for keeping this a small gathering, Tandy says, stomping off toward the kitchen. We flick the light on to find no one down here, and I can't help but laugh as Liam makes himself at home, raiding the pantry and coming out with a huge armful of sweets and chips that he dumps into Trey's arms. Trey shakes his head but says nothing, accepting his role in our escape that I am sure would get me in trouble later with Kyson. Tandy follows Liam to the cellar, returning with liquor and wine bottles. "Do you girls drink?" she asks, and Abby and I shake our heads. "Oh, Clarice made mud cake," Liam states, spotting it on the top level of the fridge. "Dustin, grab some glasses while I steal this," he says. "Clarice will murder you," Trey tells him while Liam kidnaps the cake. "Shush you. You saw nothing, and don't you snitch," he tells Trey. "So why are we doing this again?" I ask, and everyone stops looking at Tandy. "Ah, because we can. You're the queen. You can do what you want," she shrugs, and I giggle. She has a point, kinda. I doubt any of the guards would step in unless I am putting myself in danger. We sneak down to the ballroom where the orphanage was initially set up, but it is now clear since only a handful of children remain. Those that are still here are on the servants' floor with Clarice and the other servants so they could be watched over. Yet a few bunk beds and toys remain. We set up our picnic after ripping the sheets off. Trey starts a fire in the enormous fireplaces, and we flick the lights off since turning them on lit the place like a Christmas tree. "So what did Damien do that made you ditch him?" Abby asks, accepting a glass of wine from her. Liam sips his bottle of whiskey, not bothering with a glass. "Nothing really, it just irritated me," Tandy says. "Fascinating. Tell me more about your domestic squabbles," Liam says, and she rolls her eyes at him. "I wanted to go to the archives and find my daughter. He wants me to wait." "Why?" I ask, thinking it is a little odd of him. He knows Tandy wants her daughter back, as any mother would after learning they are alive all this time. He wants to be sure. He said he is worried Larkin is lying and she is dead. He wants to check it out himself first, she sighs. "Yeah, I would say he is just looking out for you," Trey tells her, coming over with a blanket. He drapes it over my shoulder, eyeing the wine glass in my hand that Tandy gave me. I sip it, finding the taste somewhat bitter. "What about you and Gannon after last night?" Tandy asks Abby. The room falls quiet at her question, and I definitely didn't want to think of the state we found her in. Abby leans into me, resting her head on my shoulder. "I'll be fine. Though I learned a lot about Sia, who was Gannon's real mate," Abby tells us. "I have my own questions about this woman." As I'm about to ask them, Liam clears his throat awkwardly. "Liam was with Sia when Gannon was," Abby says. "And you think I am trouble?" "First, the Gamma's mate and then the Beta's mate." "I'm starting to see a pattern with you," Tandy laughs. "So what about Sia?" I ask Abby. "She was my auntie," she tells us. Tandy stares at her, wide-eyed, before downing her glass. "I'll get more wine then, shall I?" she says, about to get up and retrieve the bottle off the small Lego table leaning against the wall. "I'll do it," Liam says, plucking the glass from her fingers and wandering off. Abby sighs. "So you're onto then?" Tandy asks. Dead. Gannon and Liam killed her, Abby answers. And you are still with him? She asks, aghast. I don't remember her. It was before I was born. All I know is what my mother told me about her. And what was that? Tandy asks curiously. That they had a fight. It was why my mother and father left the pack. So I have no memory of her. I only remember my grandmother when Mum would sneak me to see her when I was little. I had hardly any memories that I could recall of Abby. In fact, I could scarcely remember a time without Abby. I don't remember you ever leaving. I tell her, confused. What? Abby asks, looking at me, just as confused as I felt. You and Marissa came with us a few times. My grandmother. She had curly red hair and always wore those bone things around her neck. You told me she looked like the Wicked Witch, Abby laughs. My brows pinched together as I tried to recall this memory or anything of that she spoke of. She used to have the giant tire swing out the back under the banyan tree. Abby tells me. I shake my head. Well, turns out you were right about her. She was a witch and human, Abby tells me with a laugh, yet I am still wondering why I have no memories of this. Liam comes over to us and hands Abby a glass, making me sniff the air. I looked at Liam, swearing I could smell blood, but he looked fine. I shake my head, believing I imagined it, and sip my glass of wine that I still hadn't finished. Abby sips her glass and pulls a face at its bitterness. Wait, your grandmother was a witch? Trey asks, sounding curious. That's what Gannon said. Why? Abby answers him. Nothing, just the name SIA sounds familiar to me for some reason, Trey tells her but offers nothing else. So where is your grandmother now, then? Maybe she can do a location spell on my daughter, Tandy says, mumbling the last part. Dead. We killed her when she came after Gannon for killing her daughter, Liam says matter-of-factly as if Abby wasn't sitting across from him. Whoa, hold up. You killed her grandmother too? Tandy asks, shocked. Yep, and, Liam's words suddenly cut off when the door opens. The lights flicker on, and we turn toward the doors. Okay. I was woken up by a guard saying someone was messing around in my kitchen, only to find my mud cake gone, along with half the pantry. Simultaneously, everyone points at Trey, who throws his hands up, and I giggle. And no one thought to invite me? Clarice demands, wandering over. She plucks the whiskey bottle out of Liam's hand and drinks from it before sighing. I needed that. Those kids have been running rings around me all night, she states before falling into our little circle on the floor. She hands the bottle back to Liam, who smirks and rolls onto his back on the floor, staring up at the ceiling. If you're going to raid my kitchen next time, an invitation would be nice, girls. Now, where is that cake? She says. I'll get it, Trey says, wandering off. I watch everyone get wasted while I remain nursing the same wine glass. They look like they need to let loose. Yet I can't bring myself to drink when I am constantly at Kyson about his drinking. It doesn't feel right, and I am still sober along with Clarice when the sun comes up. Who, I think, is sticking around to supervise, so we don't cause trouble. Meanwhile, Abby can barely walk and is in fits of giggles, her face bright red from all the wine. She has also lost a slipper. Tandy is dancing on top of a table with Liam, while Dustin is on the verge of having a heart attack every time she gets too close to the edge. Liam is singing about some made-up song and keeps calling Dustin his sweet pea, which ends with him being snapped at by Dustin. I laugh, watching them make fools of themselves while sitting with Trey and Clarice. Always fun watching. Reminds me of when I was young, Clarice says, sipping her glass of wine. How old are you? I ask. As far as Clarice is concerned, I don't know much about her. Only now has it occurred to me. Too old, she laughs. Have you always lived at the castle? I ask her while watching Abby hunt beneath one of the bunk beds for her slipper. She comes out and jumps up victoriously, clutching it. Pretty much. When I had my mate, we lived in town, and I used to walk here, but after he died, I preferred being at the castle. I was lonely in the house by myself. This place kept me sane, she tells me. Just the thought of something happening to Kyson twists my heart. I can't even imagine losing him. What happened to him? He was a werewolf. I had been holding off on changing him, knowing how horrific it is to do so. What do you mean? I ask, remembering that Gannon had tried to change Abby. Clarice shakes her head. That is something best explained by your mate. So what happened to him, then? This was just before your parents' deaths. The hunter attacks were quite frequent, but they usually hit the packs. It was as if they used the packs for training when they hit them. Anyway, when we learned of the attacks, he wanted to help protect them, that they were his people, and he had family there. I refused at first, but he snuck off. Kyson found him dead and brought him home for me. He is buried in the cemetery by the river. And you never thought to find a new mate? I ask her. No, I loved my mate. After that, I focused on helping here. Put all my time into this place. When I first came here, I was hired as a nanny. I raised Kyson, Liam, and Gannon all here. Damien, too, I love all the staff as if they were my own. Then, once the king was older, he kept me on, and I stayed. Then I found my mate, then lost him a short time later, and all I had was this place, so I moved back into the castle, she tells me. So you never had a chance to have kids? She shakes her head. No, but I am hoping one day I will get to help you raise yours. When you're ready, of course, to try again, she tells me. I smile sadly and nod. A short time later, Clarice rises to her feet and says she had to check the boys. Yet moments after she leaves, the fun abruptly stops when Damien bursts through the doors furiously. Gannon Abby is still passed out when I reach the room. Clarice, however, stands in the hallway. My bedroom door is open as she stands by the door, watching Tyson while rocking Hunter in her arms and putting him back to sleep. She glances at me, covered in vomit, and chuckles. I am glad you find it so funny, I tell her. She smiles at Abby, who is snoring in my arms, her mouth open. She is out cold but won't be once I put her in the shower. At least she had fun and got out of this room for once, Clarice says, and I nod in agreement. She's not wrong. The moment she took off with Tandy, I had Liam looking for her, him promising to stay by her side. She needed time with Azalea and Tandy. Even if I think Tandy is a little wild, she is familiar to Abby, and this would give them time to hang out without me hovering around. Let me set him down in his crib, Clarice says, walking off toward Damien's room, only to stop when we hear voices. Or more like arguing. I roll my eyes, and Clarice pauses. On second thought, I might lay him down on your bed for a minute, Clarice says when I recognize the voices to be Tandy and Damien. I wander into my room, finding Tyson where I left him, fast asleep on Abby's side of the bed. Clarice sets Hunter next to him, propping pillows around him before following me into the bathroom. She turns the shower on for me while I pull Abby's soiled clothes off. I place her in the shower. My chest pangs when I glance at her marred flesh. Long slits run up both arms. My mark on her neck has covered and removed Cade's, yet the guilt I feel about marking her without consent still coils inside me. She'll forgive you, Clarice says. The woman is too observant and can read me like a book. I know, it just doesn't feel right, I tell her, glancing at her. She nods, grabbing soap and a loofah as Abby stirs under the water. She will forgive you. You were trying to save her, Clarice says as I tug my shirt off, tossing it in the hamper. I am not worried about her forgiving me for marking her, that she will forgive, I tell her, sticking my head out the door. Get it off your chest, son. I am not a mind reader. I know you tried to change her. She said I tried to force her to live. Because you did, she tells me. No judgment from this woman ever come. I could tell her my darkest secrets, I know she would take them to the grave with her and not judge me for my mistakes. Yes, but I don't think I can keep the promise I made to her if she tries to do it again, I whisper. I don't think she will try again, Gannon. Whatever Azalea did, it made her want to live. Abby spent so much time trapped in her past that she forgot she now has a future, and that future is with you and Tyson. You just may need to remind her of it occasionally, she tells me, passing me the soap and loofah. I take them, and she pats my cheek before walking out. I will take Tyson for the night. I am taking Hunter for the night, too. I will have Dustin come and grab Tyson for me, she tells me. Thank you, I tell her, and she nods, closing the door and leaving me with Abby. I strip my pants off and climb into the shower. Abby sits at my feet, leaning against the shower wall while I quickly wash myself before kneeling to wash her. She jerks awake when I pull her head under the water, coughing and spluttering. She wipes her eyes, peering around. You're safe. It's just me, I tell her, and she sighs, leaning back against the shower wall. Leaning out of the shower quickly, I grab her toothbrush and mouthwash. I put toothpaste on it, passing it to her, yet her eyes were already closing. Abby, brush your teeth, I tell her, placing the toothbrush in her hand and bringing it to her mouth. She chews on it while attempting to brush her teeth. I quickly wash her hair before tilting her head back while laughing at her when I try to pull the toothbrush from her mouth. Open your mouth, I chuckle, scrubbing her teeth the same way I watch her scrub Tyson's every morning and night. Spit, I tell her when I am done. She does, mostly spitting it on herself, and I quickly wash it off her. "Come on," I tell her. She sluggishly peers up at me, returning to her surroundings and looking around again. It is clear she has already forgotten where she is. She is completely shit-faced, and she smiles lazily, and I roll my eyes, grabbing her under the arms and pulling her up. "I think I did too much," she giggles, slurring each word and making me laugh. "That you did," I tell her. "Did you find my bunny?" I raise an eyebrow at her, not knowing what she is talking about. I half drag her while she stumbles out of the shower. It takes me a solid 20 minutes to dress her because she keeps demanding her bunny, which I finally figured out is her slippers. I place her in bed, tucking her in, her slipper tucked under one arm. Shaking my head, I put my boxers on before moving toward the door I realize is slightly ajar. As I close it, I catch movement and open it, wondering if it is Clarice and if she needs something. Yet when I open the door, I catch a glimpse of something I wish I could unsee. I blink at the scene before me. I clear my throat, staring up at the ceiling instead of his white as. "We have rooms for a reason," I call out, and Tandy shrieks. "Noted, we are getting there," Damien growls, quickly rushing to his room down the hall. I shake my head, shut the door, and fall onto the couch. Abby will freak out if she wakes up with me on the bed next to her. She never lets me sleep next to her unless Tyson is between us. Besides a few stolen kisses and brief hugs, that is it. It is also what caused the incident the other day. Tyson has his own room now and still. She refuses to sleep in the bed without him, or when I have put him in his room, I wake up to her there with him or her creeping over to the couch. Shutting the lamp off and closing my eyes, I drape my arm across my face. The sky is already starting to lighten, yet sleep takes me. A while later, I am abruptly awoken from oblivion by a loud crashing noise, which has me sitting up instantly. My eyes peer around the room, adjusting to the darkness as my night vision kicks in. I sigh, finding Abby getting to her feet from the floor. She giggles, and I sit up just as she stands. "Abby, you should be asleep," I groan, rubbing my eyes when I feel her body hit mine as she stumbles into me. I catch her to realize she has shredded her clothes in her sleep. "Abby," I stammer. She only giggles, climbing into my lap, her lips attacking me. I grip her arms, but she pushes me back, straddling me. Her mouth crashes against mine, and I groan, kissing her back before regaining my wits and pushing her back. "Abby, you're drunk," I tell her. She slurs and mumbles while her hands continue to tug at my clothes. I remove my shirt, dragging it over my head. "You don't want me," she pouts while sitting up. "Not while you're drunk, I don't." "Now lay down," I tell her, patting my chest. She ignores me, instead trying to kiss me, and I sigh. "Abby, I want you," she whines, licking my chest. "And if you still want me in the morning, you can have me, but not while you're like this," I tell her, yet still she insists, and I roll my eyes, tucking her beside me and locking my arms around her squirming body. Her rubbing against my crotch, making me extremely uncomfortable as I trap her between the back of the couch and my chest. I sigh and purr before realizing my calling will work on her now, and I take full advantage of it, letting it calm her and essentially knock her out. I am not giving her another reason to hate me. While she will make me hate myself as much as she will hate me in the morning. Sleep, love, you're safe with me, I whisper, kissing her cheek. She squirms but gives up eventually, while I enjoy having her this close, loving the feel of her body safe in my arms. Damien, I am livid. Gannon said he would get one of the guards to watch over them, I just didn't expect it to be Liam. And why would she agree? And she was acting like it was no big deal, and I was the one overreacting? I stalk after her as she storms off toward our room, where I left Clarice to watch Hunter and Tyson. Tandy! I call out to her, taking the steps 2 at a time as I try to catch up with her. She ignores me, practically running from me, which only infuriates me more. This won't be the end of this conversation, I am not done speaking to her yet. But she insists on ignoring me, which is really getting on my last nerve. I'm not done with her. We still have more to hash out. I shout behind her, where do you think you're going? She doesn't even turn around to respond, and once again just keeps walking, away from your dumb ass, that's where. I jog to catch up with her. For someone with short legs, she sure can move fast when angry. I grab her shoulder and spin her around. Big mistake on my part. She looks like the devil himself, furious little eyes glaring up at me. Looks like the devil himself, furious little eyes glaring up at me. What do you want, Damien? You already carved over Liam's letter. You want me tattooed too with your face on my back, she snaps at me. What are you expecting? Me to be okay that you trapped Liam? How do you think it makes me feel? Everyone has had their hands on you but me, I retort, just as angry with her that she would go get drunk with one of the guards whom she trapped. Does she not see how that would piss me off after everything I've done for her? Her eyes are blazing and turning pitch black as she jabs me in the chest with her finger. You act like I had a choice. You think I wanted to be made a whore, that I enjoyed it? Maybe a few of them, but that's beside the point. You are so unbelievable. Since you are so anxious for your turn, here is your chance, she snarls at me. I just stand there, not knowing what to do or say. Tandy never had a choice in any of it. Before I can clean up, sticking my foot in my mouth, she grabs both my hands, placing them on her boobs. Is this what you want? You want to put your hands on me? Here you go. Well, what are you waiting for? You want me to be your whore, don't you? Tandy, that's not what I meant, I try to tell her while jerking my hands back, but she just grabs them tighter, holding them in place as she walks me backward. Yes, it was, so have at it then. I move my hands from her, making her even angrier. You don't get to throw that shit in my face and try to backpedal. I snarl at her when she shoves me. I didn't make you a whore, so don't put that shit on me. I snap at her, and her eyes widen, and her lips part slightly in shock. It lasts all of 2 seconds before they narrow, and she growls as her canines slip out in her fury. Tandy begins pushing me on my chest, hard at that. When that doesn't work, she punches me. An involuntary growl escapes me, and I grab her. Tandy growls back and bites me below her name as she thrashes, trying to escape my grip. Damien. In a surprise move, she headbutts me, causing me to loosen my hold. This woman is insane. My forehead starts throbbing, and I'm unsure how she didn't knock herself out because that made me see black for a few seconds. Regaining my senses only for her to jump me, knocking me flat on my ass, I use my arms to block her. She is strong for someone so small. I try to get up, only for her body to crash against mine, her legs lock around my waist, and I only just manage to remain standing as I catch her. I struggle with her as she attacks me, trying to restrain her. She lets out a sound of annoyance when she tries to gain advantage on me. Suddenly, I feel her canines pierce my neck, marking me inadvertently. She pops her head up in shock at the realization of what she has done. Before she can think twice about it, I grab the back of her head, kissing her forcefully. She bites my lip, drawing blood, kissing me back even harder. Her legs wrap around my torso. She groans, mauling my mouth, and I press her against the stonework of the wall. Off in the distance, someone clears their throat, and I glance in the direction the noise came from. Ganon is staring up at the ceiling instead of at me. "We have rooms for a reason," he snaps, causing Tandy to shriek. "Noted." "We were getting there," I growl just before he shuts his door, and I chuckle, shaking my head. Azalea Kaisen grips my arm as I walk up the stairs to our room. "I'm not drunk," I tell him, not that I mind the sparks racing up my arm, or his scent clouding my brain. "I wished you woke me." "I don't like you being far from me," Kaisen tells me. While nodding my head, I yawn. I am exhausted, yet I can feel that Kaisen is wide awake now that he woke up to such chaos. Pushing the door open, I rush toward the bed and face plant onto it, wanting nothing more than to curl into a ball beneath the covers. Kaisen wanders over to the fireplace, chucking an extra log in while I try to get out of my pants and shirt before crawling under the blanket. The bed dips beside me as Kaisen climbs into bed beside me. I snuggle into his side, and he pulls the blanket up, encasing me in his arms. Surrounded by his scent, it doesn't take long before I crash and burn, sleep taking me. However, it isn't long before I am also awoken by his movement beside me. My eyes flutter open when I feel his arm move beneath my head as he turns the page of the book he is reading. "What are you reading?" I ask while yawning, the words coming out all jumbled. "I don't speak yawn," he says, and I tilt my face up to look up at him. He smiles, leaning down and kissing my nose. "One of the books Cedric gave you," he answers before pressing his lips to my forehead. "What's it say?" I ask him, curious about what gifts my parents had and what ones I could have possibly inherited. "Not much, really, I only just started reading it." "Can you read it to me?" I ask him, but he rolls away from me. He sets the book down on the bedside table before rolling into me. I can," but he doesn't finish. Instead, he smiles deviously and presses his lips to mine, flooding me with his calling. The sound vibrates from his chest, awakening my desire and every sense in my body, calling me to him. I kiss him back hungrily when his calling stops abruptly. Yet, he has awoken it already, and now, instead of being hungry for knowledge, I am hungry for him. Kaisen laughs against my lips as I crawl on top of him. My lips travel down his neck to where my mark lies on his neck. His hands gently trail up my sides, making my entire body tingle and heat under his gentle touch. My fingers trail down his chest before moving between our bodies, and I squeeze him through his boxers when he growls, flipping me onto my back and pressing his body between my legs. Kaisen grips my panties before sitting up between my legs as he tugs them down my legs. I lift my hips so he can remove them, he tosses them aside. His heated gaze runs over my body as he pushes my thighs apart and flat against the bed. My legs tremble with anticipation as he settles between them. His hot breath sweeps across my lower lips, and my hips lift, wanting his mouth on me. Kaisen smiles, lowering his head, his teeth graze my inner thigh as he nips his way down. He sucks the inside of my thigh next to the apex of my legs, and my hips buck, but his hands grip my thighs, pressing them into the bed and holding me still. "Well, aren't you a demanding little vixen today?" he purrs before teasing me with his tongue along the crease of my leg. "Kaisen," I breathe, wiggling my hips. His hand pushes against the back of my thigh, forcing one of my legs higher as he drapes one over his shoulder and settles between them. His mouth teases as he sweeps his flat tongue across the seam of my lower lips, making me moan as my skin tingles and burns with desire. He growls softly before his tongue peels my lower lips apart. My heart pounds uncontrollably and heat floods and pools in my stomach, warming every inch of me as sparks rush across my skin. His tongue swirls, driving me wild, and making me whimper at the building sensation as he continues to torment me with his tongue. Kaisen tastes and licks every piece of me before dipping his tongue inside me and lapping at the juices spilling from me. My legs tremble when I feel the first slivers of pleasure tighten the muscles of my belly. He slides his finger deep inside me while sucking. My inner walls squeeze and clamp down around his finger as he pulls out slowly. His finger drenches in my arousal and slides in and out effortlessly as he adds another, stretching me open. My inner walls squeeze as the friction builds, and I move my hips against his mouth. Heat washes over me, and I moan as my nerves pulsate against his tongue. Everything tingles, my thoughts solely consumed with the pleasure he is inducing, solely consumed with him. When I finally burn so hot, I am holding my breath, I tumble over the precipice, falling blissfully as I reach the peak of my climax. My moan echoes as I come hard. The slickness of my arousal spilling out of me, and my body tenses and spasms as I ride out the waves of pleasure, leaving me breathless. Kaisen slips his fingers from me, his hot tongue lapping at my juices before he kisses and crawls up my body, settling his weight against me. His lips, slick with my juices, mold around mine as he plunges his tongue into my mouth, forcing me to taste myself. I smile against his lips, enjoying his touch, enjoying him. It feels like we hardly have time for each other, so I am thankful for this moment despite being exhausted from being up all night. Kaisen always has a way of making me forget the torment life throws at us, and right now, I want nothing more than to forget with him. His lips travel down my neck, sucking his mark and nibbling on it, and I tilt my head to the side, offering him more. Kaisen purrs, and I love the sounds he makes, love how the bond tugs, wanting me to claim our mate over and over. He is mine, and I am his. There is no greater comfort than knowing that he was fighting alongside me. That now we fight for each other instead of against each other. No more fighting, just us. The only noises in the room are my cries of pleasure, and the wet sounds of our bodies coming together. I can feel his shock through the bond, and feel his desire to do as I suggested. Yet, also his caution, as if he is afraid to get his hopes up. If I not you, I can get pregnant. I am aware, Kaisen, I finish for him, and he stares at me for a second. A baby is never a bad thing, though timing kinda sucks. However, I don't think the timing will ever be right, not for us anyway, so if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't, I tell him. You want to try again, he asks, and I can feel his heart racing against mine as hope and excitement bleed through the bond. I need to hear you say it, love. I want to know this is what you want and not just you saying it because it's what I want, Kaisen tells me warily as he watches my face. Yet listening all night to how Abby and Tandy gush over their children while I longed for the child I lost made me only crave being a mother more, made me crave seeing Kaisen become a father. I lost my family twice, and I suddenly long for family more than anything, which means creating one with him. I know he will be a great father because, despite everything in our past, he is a great mate, a great king. Yes, my king. I want to try again, I tell him, and he smiles, his eyes sparkling as he nods. His arm slides underneath my lower back. He sits back on his knees with me on his lap, pulling me on top. His hands grip me as he moves me up and down his hard length, our positions changing. I readjust my legs and lock my arms around his neck. Kaisen nips my collarbone, making me gasp at the sting before tracing his tongue over it, and I grip his hair, tugging his head back to kiss him. Our bodies move as one like a well-choreographed dance. Kaisen groans into my mouth as I roll my hips against him, one hand squeezing me in a bruising grip while the other goes to the center of my chest as he pushes me back slightly, dips his head, my skin heats and tingles rush over my body when I feel the pressure in my lower stomach build, and his knot expands, pressing against my opening as it swells. My heart pounds in my ears. I drop my weight, taking his knot as it locks into place. My movements slow before I still, and Kaisen shivers, clutching me closer, his lips pressing against my chest as we both try to catch our breath while his fingers trace up my spine. My entire body relaxes, I feel boneless as I relax against him. Kaisen lifts his head, his lips going to the side of my mouth before nipping at my lips. I love you, he murmurs against my lips. I smile, kissing him back. I love you more, I tell him before my back hits the mattress as he leans forward, pressing his weight against me. I could argue that you are wrong. And that I love you more, he laughs. I laugh with him. But you won't because I am right, I tell him. He raises an eyebrow at me. Is that so, my queen, he says, rolling onto his back, so I straddle his hips. I smile down at him, my hands in the center of his chest. Say it, say I love you more, I chuckle. Kaisen chuckles, shaking his head. Not a chance. You won't win that one, my queen. I will always love you more, he says. Your queen, I thought I was more than that. I muse, pursing my lips. Empress, whatever, Kaisen growls. Same difference, he laughs. No, pretty sure I am of higher rank than you, now, I chuckle. Maybe you should call me Alpha, I laugh. Not a chance. I am the alpha of this relationship. And you are an empress, and I am your mate, therefore emperor, he laughs. Right then, I tell him, climbing off. He grips my hips, holding me in place. Azzy, I am knotted to you, he hisses. Well, Alpha, I guess we are in quite the predicament, I tell him, and his eyes narrow. How so? Because you just found yourself stuck in a get-along knot. So who wears the pants now, my king? I tell him, and he laughs. I move, making him stop and grip my hips. Azzy. My king, I think I may go get a drink. Are you thirsty? I tell him, wiggling, trying to climb off him. Are you trying to rip off? Well, that depends. Who is Alpha? Okay, just stay still, I want my junk intact, he curses. Say it then. I tease, and his eyes sparkle with mischief before he grips my hips and rolls, pinning me beneath him. Oh, how easily our roles are reversed, Empress, he teases as I struggle to shove him off. I can always order you off, I tell him. I squirm away from his torturous fingers. What was that? I can't hear you, my queen. Who's Alpha? He asks, pressing his weight on me and pinning me in place, yet I can't catch my breath or hold a straight thought. Say it, and I will stop, he says, and I laugh. Tickling really is the worst torture. You are the Alpha, I squeal, laughing, and he stops while laughing as I try to catch my breath. Kaisen smiles and leans down, pressing his lips to mine softly. I love you, he mumbles. I open my mouth when his fingers dance across my ribs in warning, making me laugh. I love you too, my king, I purr back at him, and I feel him smile against my lips, having won this one. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.